category. Victor Gomez the fourth, a little bit further on the grid. Maxwell Root and Trenton Estep further back, and we got a green flag, a little bit ragged at the front of the field as they go down to the first corner, but basically not a bad start. The GT3 Porsche in the pit lane that's been doing the duties for the safety car and pace car duties. Everyone through turn one for the moment and heading down under the Briggs and Stratton Bridge. And Jeremy Shaw, good news for Zachary Robichon. He did what he needed to do there at the start of the race.
Certainly did. That was a great start by Zachary. He was on the gas right away, and he was able to get a good advantage going to turn one. Was able to keep the inside line there and hold a pretty good lead. Trenton Estep was briefly looking up the outside line at turn one, but he's had to slip back at least a couple of positions. He just gained one back when David Coltman ran wide the exit of turn 5, but a good, clean, fast opening lap so far by Zachary Robichon. Back in the Gold Cup, it's still Victor Gomez that leads the way.
45 minutes means that you do have to look after the Yokohama tyres. These cars are full of fuel. 45-50 minutes, about as much as these Porsche GT3 Cup cars can do, so they're brim filled, making the cars very heavy at the start of the race. And there's a certain skill, Jeremy, and this is part of the development series from IMSA, there's a certain skill to managing the car early on in the race. You can charge, and in fact the JDX, off in the background there, David Baker in the 20 car, in the 56 car, right ahead of the 20 car of Fred Purdard. Just finish my thought there. You can see that the black and gold JDX racing car, and that is Trenton Estep having a good look at Max Root. Oh, and the 56 has gone around. David Baker having an eventful first lap. I wonder if he had dirt on his tyres, Jeremy, as he was coming down to Canada Corner, turn 12. Oh, there's someone else involved. Kurt Fazekas. Now that's got championship implications in the gold category. Has there been contact, or was it just avoidance? Try and work that out for you. Across the line, Robichon by nearly 2 seconds. He's had an awesome first lap from Imperato in second. It was David Baker spinning in front of the field, and Fazekas may have had a little touch from the 69 car that was in close attendance behind him. If not, he just spun in avoidance.
Tell you what, I think all of those guys did a fantastic job there to avoid David Baker's spinning car. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure it was he that was running off the road there on the exit of the kink, and that's not for the faint of heart. So yeah, the tyres would have been pretty dirty as he got on the brakes for Canada Corner. Around the car went, but what the battling there is here at the front of the field. Zachary Robichon, well, he's checked out at the front. Great first lap by the Canadian, but this battle for second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth is really intense.
No pit stops. This is straight through for 45 minutes. My question would be, has Robichon taken too much early out of the tyres? Will he pay for that later on? The good news is he can already start to manage that gap. He's got so much of a run. David Kolkman at the back of this, 5-6 car train for second position in the number 71, and a spin there for the bright orange number 42 car. Does he get it going again? Yes, he does. Very well done. Now, was that a helping hand as well for Bill Smith?
Hard to say. That was
difficult, wasn't it?
Rob Ferriel right behind him there in car number 5. And Bill Smith, he's really made big strides this season. Number 42 car, been on the podium each of the last 2 races.
Had a huge crash here last year, running down towards and through the kink in an accident that was not of his own making. Alan Metney, if I remember rightly, had a bit of an off, and then coming back on, nailed Bill's car. So this place at the moment, not having good memories. The other thing I was thinking about David Baker there earlier on, Jeremy, his tyres might have been dirty and his pulse rate might have been up over about 1,000 still, getting his breathing and his pulse back down to normal after going off at 150 odd miles an hour through the kink onto the grass. And the Yokohamas are pretty good tyres, but they are not built for rallycross. They're not grass track tyres.
That's a fact.
Robichon, another second taken out of the field there with Anthony Imperato behind him. Maybe just the cork in the bottle at the moment, Imperato, with Maxwell Root sitting about a second further back. Well, maybe now Imperato is not having to look so much in his mirrors. He'll be able to try and bridge that gap. Everybody had their best lap the last time around, and the fastest lap of the race last time around was Zachary Robichon. Roman De Angelis in the number 1 car in 4th position. Looking at that, the back of that blue car. Trenton Estep, another car further back.
Yeah, so
David Coltman right in there, the Park Place car. That's very, very distinctive, that Park Place colour scheme.
There is Roman De Angelis. That is the car that won the championship last season with Jake Edson.
Oh, he's got past Root then.
Yes, he has. And
he's got past Root.
And he started in 6th position, did Roman De Angelis, so he'd been disappointed by that. He's now up into the 3rd place, so a really good start. First opening laps for Roman De Angelis. He's going to try now to close the gap to Anthony Imperato in 2nd place.
Jeremy Shaw, John Hindhaugh with you at Road America for Porsche. GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama action. Oh, and this time it's the JDX car that goes onto the grass and still makes the pass with a little hip check through the King. My goodness me! Have you ever seen anything like that from the number 3? Trenton Estep had so much pace that he fell off the track, all 4 wheels on the grass there, but kept his foot in and was able to regain the track surface. Max Root probably so distracted by what was going on behind him, so through the black and gold car just runs a tiny bit wide, holds onto it, and then comes around the inside to the left-hander that's after the King, running down to Canada Corner. Extraordinary driving. Just straightened off, couldn't get back on, ran over the edge of the curb in that Hertz-sponsored car, and somehow kept it out of the wall. I've never seen anything like that ever in any form of racing here.
No, it's not really advised.
It's not in the handbook.
No, it's not really that one, but it was a heck of a save. I think Jeremy Dale and Harrison Brooks will have taken a collective sigh there of relief to be able to get away with it on the pit wall. They're the co-team principals at JDX Racing, and now Maxwell Reed, he's going to look down the inside. He's going to brake really super late on the inside. He gets that pass made, so he's back up into 4th place ahead of the championship leader Trenton Estep, who's going to lose, I think, another position. Yes, he is at turn 6 as David Coltman goes past him. Wow. So the championship leader Trenton Estep, they started in the 4th position. Wasn't particularly happy with that. Well, he's now back in 6th. Going to tighten up the points equation. Of course, Zachary Robichon, this is his first weekend in the USA Series. He's leading the Canadian Championship this year. This is him making his debut in the this year. He's done a couple of races in the past in the USA Series, but it's been a great debut for the 26-year-old from Ottawa, Canada, in the championship for more speed this weekend. A really fine effort, and he's pulling away still at the front of the field. There's a spin for Scott Wellham also in car number 61. It's the exit of turn 8. Zachary Robichon continuing to pull away at the front of the field. 2 minutes 12.9 last time around for the race leader. And he was a full half a second clear of the rest of the field.
So take a breath, everybody concerned. As Estep now in behind David Coltman. So there's been another change there. So he's dropped back. Coltman not giving way. Bit of a spin further back down the field for the number 61 Porsche, but it has continued, so no harm, no foul there. Not impacting the front of the field. Another fastest lap of the race by Zachary Robichon at the front of the field. Now 4.2 seconds from Imperato, who's built up a nearly 2-second lead in second. It's Roman De Angelis now in third, 1991 and 1. Then Maxwell Root ahead of David Coltman and Trenton Estep. The battle for 5th and 6th position. heading up the hill now. For me, Maxwell Root maybe just making a bid for freedom here and leaving the two darker coloured cars, the dark grey and the black and gold, to scrap for 5th position. And all of a sudden, Trent and Estep seeming to be losing pace here.
Yeah, but as you said earlier on, it is a long race around here. It's pretty warm
Very
as well
warm.
Still this morning, isn't it? But it's warming up considerably.
It's been a long day.
And you know, these guys are going to have to look after their Yokohama tyres during this 45-minute race.
That's a fair point, well made and beautifully presented by my co-commentator Jeremy Shaw here. One thing for sure, this is a great breeding ground for future talent.
Yeah, and it's great to see so many youngsters in the field.
Here's Estep, Jeremy, sorry to interrupt, he's trying around the outside. No, couldn't make it this time. Oh, back into the car, locking up, I think on down change there. He might have gone just a little bit early for the shift, but it's actually rotated the car brilliantly, and that's twice now that he's made mistakes and made up positions for him. This is going to be his day, isn't it?
Yeah, he was pushing right on the limit there under the brake, and the back end of the car stepped out a bit, but David Coltman, I don't know whether David was looking in his mirror thinking, he's spun, I don't know, but he lost momentum coming off the corner.
I think that's a reasonable assumption. They were so late into the corner.
No, he just carried too much speed into the apex, I think, did David Coltman there. Cost him time on the exit, and that entrance, Trent and Estep, he just kept his foot in there, and he makes the pass.
So Trent and Estep now under pressure through turn 1 from Coltman, who has to go off the track and drops back in behind. So twice now, Trent and Estep has made mistakes, once off the track to make up a position on the grass, extraordinary stuff, and once locking the rear of the car and braking into Canada corner. Almost a handbrake turn going in there to rotate the car using, if you like, the e-brake, stunt driver style.
That was dirt track driving.
It was,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Backed it into the corner, brilliant.
Estep then back up to 5th position in the gold category. Victor Gomez has got a couple of platinum cars between himself and 2nd place. So he'll be very happy about that. The Platinum Masters leader is the aforementioned Alan Metney, who had a horrible crash here last year. So the 99 car leads at 7th position overall. Slight difference in the cars this year, in that the Platinum class cars are the new Gen 2 machines. A little bit more power, different interior and instrument package, more aligned with other versions of the 911, with other racing versions of the 911, and in fact have the new safety seat and the access hatch above the driver's head, so that in any form of accident or incident, the rescue crew can get to the driver and remove, if necessary, remove helmet and hands device without having to try and get the driver out first, stabilise spinal cord, etc. Great battle going on at Canada corner, side by side, the two light blue cars. And at the moment, Mark Kavame, he's got, I thought he was going to have to give best there for a moment to the 25, who is Victor Gomez in the gold category. Across the line they go. Car 99 warned, in fact has lost its lap time. That is Alan Metney leading the Masters class. Track limit at turn 1. And spin for, I think I saw the spin for the 12 car in the background there. But has continued as well.
Eduardo De Leon having a quick turnaround. That's another of the JDX entries.
A couple of the big super teams here, NGT being one of them. Carazo at the moment under pressure, with Rob Furriol right in behind him. That is a battle for position on the track and in the gold category, and it's 2nd position in the gold category. You can tell the gold class cars with, guess what, gold wing mirrors and the gold edges to the windscreen band, as well as yellow headlights this year, which is an additional, spin for the 69, very much in works colours. Now, where were they on the field? That's the Hardy car. Yes, he's
Hardy, making his debut this weekend.
It's turn 6, coming up over the brow. Tricky little corner that. You turn in without being able to see the pointy bit of the corner, the apex. It looks like Dan got the power just a tiny little bit too early, and that has allowed that battle behind him in the gold category to close up. Oh, and Carrazzo made a mistake, and he's going to lose that position. Maybe attention taken by the platinum car ahead of him.
And that's fine for Sebastian Carrazzo. He's another youngster, just 20 years of age, from Puerto Rico, mainly based now in South Florida. He made his debut last time out at Watkins Glen, but kind of blotted his copybook there. As we say, a big spin once again for Dan.
Yeah, that was Dan.
Dan Hardy's spin from a little while ago. Had a big crash at Watkins Glen, pretty much destroyed the car. The car had to go away, long way away from the racetrack to be repaired. Oh, yes. Missed the first race, and then went off again in race 2, which is effectively his race debut.
Another mistake there for Dan Hardy, and this time he's had to give up a position on track, and that's a huge advantage there then for Rob Furriol. And Sebastian Carrazzo will want to get through because the 69 car ahead is getting a little bit erratic. Meantime, at the front of the field, the very opposite of erratic, consistent and consistently fast, Zachary Robichon now has an almost 7-second lead. He can't even see Anthony Imperato in second place. He's got 2 seconds on third. Imperato comes through in the number 91 car through turn 6 and into 7, the very quick right-hander. The white with green striped car, the number 1, Roman De Angelis, in third position, has pulled away from Maxwell Root by a couple of seconds. But Trenton Estep still seemingly tied to the back of that red, white and light blue Porsche Cup car. 7 from 3 as they go into the carousel. Estep will be annoyed with himself for losing the positions he fought hard to gain early on.
Yeah, but he's just turned his best lap of the race, and that's quicker than all except for our race leader Zachary Robichon. So he's got the speed in that JDX car, that Hertz liveried car, black and gold, very distinctive car. He's right on the tail now of Maxwell Root.
Classic racing livery, isn't it, as well? Seeing that down through the years.
Great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's again 2 more of the youngsters in this championship. Zachary Robichon, well, he's a grand old man nowadays at the age of 26. But Anthony Imperato is about the same age, and then Roman De Angelis, well, he's just 17 years of age. Maxwell Root is 19, and Trenton Estep 18. It's great to see these youngsters making a name for themselves in this championship. And
this is a signature part of IMSA's idea to keep full pro drivers out. That's why this is a cup challenge. Cross the line. Oh, there's a bump there, a little bit of bump drafting between the two cars that are battling for 4th and 5th position. Estep went to the right-hand side. It was covered by Maxwell Root. And I'm pretty certain that the stewards will be taking a look at that to make sure that that couldn't be considered blocking. It was on the edge, I think.
Yeah, the question was it reactive?
Yes, exactly.
Was he moving in response to the car behind him, or was he preempting the move of the car behind him? That's the critical factor the stewards will be looking at.
Looks like both cars have got away without any significant damage, barely even. Well, there's a little scuff on the reflective gold stripes on the car of Trenton Estep, the number 3, but that's about all. That was a very close call indeed, and Maxwell Root's feeling the pressure, makes a little mistake and goes wide out of turn 6, runs right across the curbs with all 4 of the Yokohama tyres. Before this heats up again, I just want to make the point, these young drivers coming through are not yet professional race drivers. They are developing their talent, and one of the reasons this is a Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama is exactly that, because pro drivers aren't allowed in it. In Carrera Cup around the world, it's a free-for-all. You can be a paid driver, you can be a pro driver being paid or bringing sponsorship in to get yourself further up the ladder. That's not the case here, Jeremy, and I think that's one of the reasons that this is so successful and so important for developing young talent in endurance racing in the US. Bit of damage on the front of Maxwell Root's car as he goes grass cutting and gets a warning for blocking. Just a warning. So the race control, looking at the same pictures we see and a whole heck of a lot more, and just thinking that was a little bit too reactive, as Jeremy rightly said. He's got a couple of car lengths this time as he comes up a very steep hill indeed. But a good run by Trenton Estep. This is the battle for 4th position that we're talking about. Maxwell Roots and Trenton Estep ahead of them. Zachary Robichon is just managing a near 8-second lead. The number 19 car ahead of the 91, mainly white car with the orange and black stripes. Anthony Imperato in second, being closed in on just slightly, half a second or so in the last couple of laps by Roman De Angelis in the number 1 Porsche in 3rd place. Then the battling pair that we've been talking about for a wee while.
That's exactly right. It was a good lap by Roman De Angelis last time around. His best lap of the race so far, 1 minute 13.4. That is the 2nd fastest lap of the race, or the 2nd quickest car, because Zachary Robichon's turned several laps faster than that. Also, not far behind the battle we're watching there on screen. Here it is now. The battle for 2nd place. Aha, okay, I wonder what happened there. The battle for 2nd place, this was on the previous lap. 2nd place in Masters, that was Charlie Luck leaving his braking just a little bit too deep going into turn 1, runs wide, and Michael Levitas in car number 36 goes through to take that position. That is the battle for 8th and 9th.
No cars now between the gold leader Victor Gomez and Rob Ferriol, but 15 seconds is the gap. Keep an eye on that though, because Rob Ferriol is turning in some very, very quick times indeed as he's trying to bridge that gap, and we've still got half this race to go. But Alan Metney in problems.
Oh no.
And that was the man who was leading the Platinum Masters, and he's going slowly. I did say that this wasn't his favourite track. Had a big accident here a year ago.
Well, he was really doing a nice job.
Yes, he was. Tyre problem.
Yeah.
Or a bodywork rubbing a tyre maybe.
Or?
Brake stuck on. I'm looking around. I thought I saw an issue maybe with the left front. Well, whatever it is, he's dropping, of course, down through. Awful place to happen out on the far side of the circuit, but smoke pouring from the right front of that car. And he'll do well to get that back, and a pit stop here takes you out of contention, of course. No planned pit stops in these relatively short races. It's a full tank of fuel for Yokohamas, and on you go.
Yeah, that's very disappointing for Alan Metney, because with a win here, and if Charlie Luck stayed where he was in 3rd place, that would have put him level on points in the Masters category with 2, 4, 6, 7 races remaining in the season. But if he's not able to finish this race, that'll cost him dearly, Alan Metney. It was a great drive. He's been really doing a nice job in 7th position overall.
Mark Kavame then up into 9th position ahead of Fred Podad in 10th. That's the 43 and 20. Then our gold leader, Victor Gomez. And then we wait for Rob Ferriol. Actually, Rob Ferriol's now dropped behind the recovering 69 car. That's had a couple of spins, remember, the Hardy car. And Rob, in fact, dropping away that lap, probably because he was passed, but still battles out on the circuit. Number 5 is Rob Ferriol, and he's got David Baker. I wonder if Rob's actually made a mistake there, because he has lost a couple of seconds. As Alan Metney does make it into the pit lane, I see air in pretty much all of the Yokohama tyres. Yeah, Rob Ferriol's pace has just dropped off a little bit. David Baker recovering from a couple of incidents early on, and he goes through, takes the position overall, but of course they are 2 different class cars. So that'll put David up into, what, 13th position at the front of the field. Zachary Robichon with 20 minutes to go, 8.5 seconds now, pulled out 6/10 in the last couple of laps. And Robichon being very, very impressive indeed. This is a track, Jeremy, that these cars love, and the drivers love, and More Speed have clearly got this one dialed in perfectly for Zachary Robichon. If somebody has a good car here and feels confident, we've seen it happen before in this championship, you can drive away here, and he has. Almost 2 seconds on the first lap, and At that point, once the aerodynamic tour, the draft was broken, he got his head down and very early on pulled the pin. And since then, well, he managed it for a couple of laps, held it around 6-7 seconds, and now he's going again. A 2:12.6 last time around, by far. Check that, that's his best time. A 2:13.4 last time around, still the same though, by far the fastest lap. He's half a second and more quicker than anyone else. The battle for fourth place continues with the red, white and blue car of Maxwell Root. This time have to give best at turn 5. The tricky downhill braking area, and through goes Trenton Estep up into 4th position. And the black and gold of the JDX Racing number 3 car. That's been a long time coming, and Estep will be cursing himself because he had that done and done earlier on and dropped back, what, 3 or 4 places, and now he's having to fight back. Roman De Angelis in 3rd position is his next target, but he's some, what, 4 seconds up the road. However, I will say now, Jeremy, I wouldn't put that past Trenton Estep. It's all going to depend how much he's taken out the tyres. Roman De Angelis himself finding about a 10th last time around on Imperato in 2nd place. Anthony Imperato in 2nd place. It's just starting to look like it might be squeezing back together a little bit towards the end of the race.
Still plenty of time to go. Yes. Too. There's 18.5 minutes remaining in this race. So if Trenton Estep now he's got clear of Maxwell Root, if he's got a faster car, he's going to put his head down now and try and close that gap to the Roman De Angelis ahead of him. And those two are the 1st and 2nd in the championship right now. 13 points the spread coming into this weekend in favour of Trenton Estep. All of a sudden now Max Root is coming under pressure from David Coltman, who's closed up considerably on that last time around. Max, of course, lost a bit of time with the pass that was made by Trenton Estep in turn 5.
"17 3/4 minutes to go." And Roman De Angelis. Get the Jaws theme out, Jeremy, because there's a certain sense of inevitability about this, as into the pit lane comes Fred Podard. And now that's bad news for Fred. He was riding high in the running for the Masters category and inside the top 10. He's dropped out of that. Meantime, David Baker has recovered his composure and his pace and looks to take back a place on their track. And that's the battle for 11th place. But he's trying to get past a Gen 2 car ahead of him, one of the Platinum drivers. It's been a bit of a baptism of fire for Mr. Hardy, hasn't it, Jeremy? Been off the track a couple of times.
Yes, but for somebody in his first race at this level, he's done a really good job. He's turning some very good lap times. He's running
What's
now.
his background, Jeremy?
Not much. Club racing, basically. Yeah, a little bit of club racing.
Breaks himself at turn 5.
Yeah, there you go.
Downhill braking, very, very difficult. Very difficult. No ABS on these cars. The Cup cars are really.
There actually is.
Well, there is for the Masters.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. As soon as I said that, yes. But just outbraked himself there. Downhill braking area is always very difficult. You've got gravity just pushing the car forward, and then he's got on the grass a little bit. Needs to concentrate there. Just do the basic things. But if you haven't got a lot of racing experience behind you, those basic things are all new to you.
Game on now for 2nd place, because Anthony Imperato has got Roman De Angelis looming large in his mirror. Just a second between them. It's come down by half a second, over the last 3 or 4 laps. So at least a 1/10 or 2 of a second per lap that De Angelis is closing in on Anthony Imperato.
And Trenton Estep is only 4.3 seconds further back, ready to pick up any pieces and potentially a podium finish if there's any RG or indeed Bargy between the 2 cars currently ahead of him. And he can see them now, and once you can see the cars you're fighting, there's a couple of places here at Road America where the straights are long enough to be able to see cars that are 3-4 seconds ahead of you. Nobody can see Zachary Robichon. Nobody at all. He's now over 10 seconds. This is very, very impressive by young Zachary. And with 15 minutes to go, he is now, I'm sure, managing that gap. He's still the quickest guy on the track. And my only worry about that, Jeremy, is he looking after his tyres? It seems very easy for him at the moment. But how much is he taking out the Yokohamas? Imperato has just upped his pace a little bit. 2:14.2 last time around, lost a couple of tenths to De Angelis. Trenton Estep has pulled clear of Maxwell Roof and David Coltman, the German driver, coming into the mix here in the Park Place Porsche number 71. 6th position at the moment, but has just put his fastest first sector of the racetrack in of the race. And he's now just half a second and much less. He's got a little deep in Canada corner, but he's taken a lot of speed through there. 42 in the bright tangerine car is Bill Smith. Eduardo de Leon looking down the inside in the number 12, the darker coloured car at turn 5. Well, he gave it a good look. Really wasn't close enough there. Bill's recovered his composure after a spin earlier on. You can't miss Bill's car. Bright orange and white. Trenton Estep just put his fastest final sector in as he's closed into under 4 seconds. Took 4 tenths out of the guys ahead of him. De Angelis just lost a bit of time on Imperato, who has got the word and the hurry up. Bill Smith, martial arts proprietor.
And Zachary Robichon is just settling into a nice pace, John. He's nice and consistent at the front of the field. It's on mid 2 minute 13s, 13.4, 13.6, 13.6, 13.5 the last 4 laps. That's what you want to see from your race leader. You've got this sort of comfortable lead. Just click off the laps. Don't do anything silly. Don't do anything brash. Just hit your marks.
Bill Smith and Eduardo de Leon running in 6th and 7th in the gold category, 17th and 18th on the circuit, but they're not last. We have a Platinum Masters car. Yeah,
Scott Wellham, having had that spin earlier on, is behind those two. It's a good battle, isn't it, between the pair of them? Having some fun out there.
Isn't this the essence of this championship? Jeremy, the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. We spend a lot of time, of course we do, talking about the new talent at the front of the field. Here are two guys who are enjoying their motor racing. They don't have any airs and graces about getting the phone call from Weissach to be a Porsche factory driver. They're enjoying their motor racing and mixing it up on the big show package with IMSA. 2 races in the weekend. Their paddock right next to the IMSA WeatherTech sports car paddock as well, and racing in front of big knowledgeable crowds. On the other hand, Zachary Robichon very much looking to place himself on people's radar, and he's doing exactly the right thing now. Nearly 12 seconds, this battle for second. Well, it started. Roman De Angelis, you can tell he's much closer because he started flashing the lights now. That's Anthony Imperato, as Imperato and De Angelis go wide at turn 1. Flashing the lights is scientifically proved to give you 2 tenths a lap.
Yeah, and you're guaranteed the guy in front of you is going to make a mistake as well. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to distract him, aren't you? But
it cheeses people off when you flash the lights behind them.
It does.
It's just the same on the racetrack as it is on the road when you've got someone sitting in the overtaking lane. But it is on now.
Well, he's late on the brakes into turn 5. Is Anthony Imperato in second place, but not too far behind those two is Trenton Estep, the championship leader. Still 3.6 seconds though. He gained about 3 tenths of a second on the last lap, but he's going to need to take a lot more out of these two if he's going to catch him.
In 10 minutes, which is what remains.
Victor Gomez going very slow.
Victor Gomez, our leader on the front straight, heading down towards turn 1, leader in gold. Does he have a problem? He was off the racing line and moving slowly. He'll be through turn 1 now and heading. Oh no, he's not even that far. He's at the pit out. Oh, this is drama and disaster for our gold category leader, who had not been challenged, was fully 10 seconds and more, 15 seconds and more up the road. And through has gone Rob Ferriol, who fought his way up into second in the number 5 car. And this is very unusual. This is a technical failure of some description. The NGT Motorsports car is out, dead stick at the side of the road, driver's right just beyond the pit lane exit. He's done a good job getting that car out of harm's way. Driver's right beyond start finish with 9.5 minutes to go. Now, what will be race control's thoughts on that? As De Angelis now right with Imperator and through into the lead. Oh, Gomez is going again. Gomez is going again. So has he tripped something in the car, something electrical? Now, I'm pretty sure I saw Ferriol going through. Ferriol is down at turn number 8 and heading into the carousel. Yes, he has taken the lead. Full course yellow is out. And Dennis Paul says, I've just put this out. And as soon as I did, he started moving again. So this will be a very quick full course yellow, because the man who's caused it is running again. So he was coming out of the final corner, ran across the curbs a little bit, and then the engine or something, I reckon something's tripped there. He's coming up the hill, and it just stopped, but he's moving again now. The caution is out. Well, this is great news for everybody behind Zachary Robichon, and it's terrible news for him. He had more than 12 seconds of a lead, and now he's going to have Imperato, De Angelis, Trenton Estep, Maxwell Root and David Coltman all line astern behind him, all battling for the lead.
That's right. So at this stage now, Zachary's got to, you've got to hope, or the team at More Speed, David Moore and co there, they've got to be hoping that Zachary was taking care of the equipment, taking care of his tyres, so he's ready to get on the hammer when the restart comes. And as you said, it'll be very shortly. We're just at less than 8 minutes remaining in this race, but I wonder whether they might not need to send out the safety car. Oh,
it's out.
Is out. Okay,
it's
fine.
A Porsche GT3 now that leads the field, but it's a GT3 road car. But this surely will be a quickie. As soon as they pack them up, we're going to have around about 5 or 6 minutes of racing. Just looking at the tail of the field coming through past us now at the start-finish line. And Zachary Robichon will be going, what? Little dent in the front of Trenton Estep. In fact, exactly similar dents in the front of Trenton Estep's gold and black car and the red, white and blue of the car that he was fighting with, Maxwell Root.
And there goes Victor Gomez past our booth, and that car seemed to be pretty much on full song there, so he's going to try and catch up the field now. Yes, there goes, the lights go out on the safety cars. They come around the carousel, I think, aren't they? So
yes,
that's going to come at the end of this lap, and Victor Gomez, he might be able to catch up the field before we get back to green flag racing.
And I tell you what, he's going to have plenty of heat in his Yokohama tyres, because he's pushing very, very hard indeed. Times this right, he might get a decent run up the start.
This might be his fastest lap of the race, actually. We'll see how hard he's pushing.
Well, that was a very, very odd one indeed. I thought maybe
I think you're right. I think he maybe hit the ignition switch, or is it the master switch or something on that car?
Very odd though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did his best, pulled it across out the way. He's dropped all the way at the back of the gold field and down to 19th position. He was knocking on the door of the top 10. Before that, the GT3, the bright red GT3. Isn't it nice to see a guards red style colour on a Porsche again? Much beloved in the 1980s, of course, and then sort of fell out of favour. But I've got to say, it looks pretty good. And it will pull out of the way this time around, the GT3 street car that we have as our safety car and intervention pace car. So now, can Anthony Imperato put pressure on Zachary Robichon at the front of the field? Robichon did a fantastic job at the start of the race proper some 40 minutes ago. He's got to do it again. And
does our championship leader, Trenton Estep, in 4th position, have anything for Roman De Angelis ahead of him?
And this is great news for Trenton, because that 4 seconds, 3.5 seconds has disappeared. There's an opportunity here to make up some places, but there's also that is, you know, balance that with the danger of a restart and everybody else being so close to you. He's not entirely the master of his own destiny. He's dropped away from the leading 3 a little bit there, as De Angelis got a very good start indeed, and he's right in behind Imperato, dodges to the left, then to the right up close to the pit wall. Imperato driving right down the middle of the road, that's fine. Eventually De Angelis will make a decision one way or the other. He's still weaving left and right as they both go massively deep into the first corner. They're going to go wide, too wide, right off the circuit, and here comes Estep closing in on the pair of them, but he's got to think championship down the inside. De Angelis side by side now, those two cars through turn number 3, dropping off the circuit indeed now and throwing up all kinds of dust and dirt.
And that's going to give an Estep a run down that back straight.
Estep did exactly the right thing there, held back, held his line. Kolkman's in there as well. Estep goes up into third. Estep up into third, so from challenging to go into second, De Angelis is now down into third, and Kolkman tries round the outside at turn 5. Clearly nobody's told the German driver that that's not on round there. He gave it a try. Oh, down, late move down the inside under the Corvette bridge for De Angelis. Underneath the championship leader, but couldn't get that done. Imperato has done very well indeed there, Jeremy, because he didn't have the best restart. Robichon's cleared off again, but he's managed to hold on. Imperato I'm talking about here, Anthony Imperato. He's managed to hold on to that second place, and I had to back money against him when I saw him slightly fluff the start coming up the hill.
Kept his nerve very well indeed, didn't he? And now he's just got to put his head down there, concentrate on hitting his marks. Don't look in the mirrors, Anthony. He's not got an awful lot of experience at this level, but he's done a really, really good job over the last couple of years, and this has been a very mature drive by Anthony Imperato. It looks like he's weathered that storm there, and he's just got to now, I think by now the Yokohama tyres should be back up to optimal working pressures and temperatures. So he's now going to make sure he takes a clean line through his final couple of corners.
Oh, big accident, and it is our debutant. 69 car, oh dear. Also in there is Scott Wellham. He was down at the back of the field, and people are going to have to be very careful. The secondary impacts are always the ones that scare me. There's bits of Porsche that we shouldn't be seeing there, including springs. And the Hardy car is destroyed at the front. There's just nowhere to go.
Oh, look at that.
Scott Wellham's right front wheel, tyre and part of the suspension assembly has made it a lot further, and that will be all she wrote. Robichon will hold on under yellow flags to take it from Imperato, and that move by Trenton Estep will move him up into third position. There'll be no further racing. Two very, very damaged Porsche GT3 Cup cars. Checkered flag is shown on the timing screen at least, and it's still double yellows right outside of our studios. The Porsche Cayenne GTS safety vehicle is already at the Hardy Porsche. Well, coming off the safety car, always a dangerous time. And those guys towards the last part of the field through goes Alan Metney, who's come back out of the pits after I think a suspension issue on that car. So what happened there? It was Hardy losing it on his own through the kink, got off onto the grass. Now we saw that earlier on, didn't we? But that time Trenton Estep survived it, and Scott Wellham had gone past the incident.
Yeah, but I wonder whether he might have just clipped the back end of the number 69 car as it came back across the road.
Maybe.
He then went onto the grass and he lost control there. There was two huge accidents there for both of those two cars, 69 and 61.
Good job by Bill Smith to avoid the spinning car, but he's got experience of that because he didn't do that last year. He got nailed by somebody coming back on. He reacted very quickly there. I'm able to be slightly light-hearted about that because the good news is that at least one of the drivers is out of the car. Is that Hardy? Yes, it is. Who is out of his car.
Cool, those are two scary impacts there. I mean, number 69 car was the first to go off there. That was Dan Hardy, and he just lost control going through the kink there first lap after the restart.
Both cars out.
Yeah, good.
Scott Wellham's out as well.
That's great news because that's his second big crash in as many weekends. He crashed also at Watkins Glen.
So 61 was further up the field.
The 69 car bounces back off the wall, and the 61 car goes to the left of him.
No, there wasn't a touch.
No, it's not.
There wasn't a touch, but he had to run onto the grass, Jeremy. So you were right. there was brakes and then on the grass and then a loss of control from Scott Wellham as the Hardy car went around. Horrible looking incident. Left front and left rear wheel, tyre and suspension ripped off Scott's car and making springs going down the road. The Porsche spoiler off the back gone, and similar heavy damage to the 69 car. And the good news, both drivers, now this may be a single manufacturer championship, but nothing skimped on safety here. And I mean, one of the changes for the Gen 2 cars this year is to adopt some of the safety features of the other Porsche race cars, the GT3s and even the GT Le Mans cars, like moving the seat towards the middle of the car, like the safety seat, like the extraction devices. And on both of those cars, the driver cell, the bit of the car that is around the soft squidgy bit, being the driver, stood up to the impact and did its job. Scott Wellham walking unaided to the second of our Porsche Cayenne GTS intervention vehicles. Helmet off, hands device off, and shaken, undoubtedly, possibly a bit stirred as well, but making his all way down. And good to say that Dan Hardy's the same. He was getting in the one car. Just, I mean, matter of inches in terms of certainly the 69 car getting onto the grass, excuse me, the 61 car, Scott Wellham getting onto the grass. Well, we did see a checkered flag logo on the timing screen, and that is now confirmed across the start-finish line, and we finish with time having expired behind the safety car, so we can confirm then that Zachary Robichon, having his lead, having survived a late race restart, having been a good 12-13 seconds up the road. Anthony Imperato will be, I think, delighted with second place on what is a relatively home ground race for him and the family. The 91 car coming through in second position, and he had to work very hard to hold on to that in the end. Trenton Estep significantly for his championship, making up a position late on there on the final restart and getting a spot on the podium. Yeah,
that's exactly right. He got past Roman DeAndres. Those two are first and second in the points, Estep and DeAndres. So rather than losing 2 points to DeAndres, Estep would actually gain 2 points. So he'll have a 15-point edge now with 7 races remaining in the season. And for Anthony Imperati, that equals his best finish. He had a second-place finish at Sonoma Raceway last season. So that is his second-place finish for Anthony Imperato in car number 91.
As far as the Masters is concerned, we Mike Levitas in 7th position in the number 36 car, who will take the Platinum Masters category from Charlie Luck. And Mark Kvarme working his way through to 3rd position there.
Yes, indeed. So he'll be on the podium for the 5th time this season. That's the 4th win, though, for Michael Levitas. Unfortunately, he was unable to make the races at Barber Motorsports Park, so he's quite a long way back in the points table. Charlie Luck will continue to actually will extend his lead from 5 points out to 14 over Alan Metney, who had that mechanical problem that caused him to come onto pit lane. So he finished in 8th place, and now a 14-point gap for Charlie Luck in the Masters class.
In gold, 11th position overall for Kurt Fazekas, who had a problem early on, let's not forget, and looked like he might be out of the running for gold. And he got past Rob Ferriol on the restart with Sebastian Carrazzo in 3rd position. So 52, 5 and 27. Victor Gomez, having caused that late race yellow flag with a commanding lead before that, when the car cut out, as yet still unknown there, wasn't able to improve and will finish down in 7th position.
Yeah, so with that result, for Kurt Fazekas, who was 2nd in the points, he was 17 points behind Victor Gomez coming into this weekend. But with his 3rd win, and that pass on the last lap, we didn't see where it took place, but a good move there once again by Kurt Fazekas. His 3rd win of the season will move him now to within 6 points of Victor Gomez, the 4th, going into tomorrow's round.
Yes, and there's a lot of work to be done by some of the teams here. The debris field strewn beyond the kink and down towards Canada corner from those two very heavy impacts. The good news is that both drivers pretty much unaided out of their cars. And the headline news then with that good news is that Zachary Robichon takes victory in the first of two races for the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, with Anthony Imperato and a recovering Trenton Estep making up the podium in platinum. Mike Levitas in 7th overall takes the Platinum Masters category ahead of Charlie Luck and Mark Kavame. And in the Gold Cup category, Kurt Fasikis with a late race pass on long-time leader Rob Ferriol. Rob, who inherited the lead, should I say, when Victor Gomez, the long-time leader, had a problem. Victor had been absolutely dominating. 3rd place for Sebastian Carrazzo, and Bill Smith just off the podium in 4th position. Into the pit lane for our winner overall and in platinum, Zachary Robichon, and Mo Speed will be very happy with that. In fairness, Jeremy, they had the dominant car, they had the dominant driver. If he had lost out at the end, he would have counted himself very unlucky. He hasn't. He takes max points.
Yeah, hats off to More Speed there. Great to see that team back again. They had to miss the last round at Watkins Glen, and we're also thinking about the Will Hardiman, who has got some problems at home and he's unable to make it for the rest of the season. But what a great astute call to put Zachary Robichon in that car.
To the winner, the spoils, into the victory area for Zachary Robichon. It's been another exciting incident and action-packed round of the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. We'll have the rest of the season live here on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. For Jeremy Shaw, I'm John Hindhaugh. Make sure you join us for the next round. Bye-bye.